Before this stove goes anywhere near a tent, I want to cure the outside, check the draft, and just make sure the whole assembly is working right. So today, I'm excited to do the first burn-in on my new White Duck Outdoors Anchor stove, making sure everything is working the way it should before I take it out into the field. My name is Adam, and some of you may know me from the DadCamps YouTube channel where I talk about gear, skills, and getting outside with your family. But today I'm here with White Duck Outdoors, and we're here doing the first burn-in on the Anchor stove, which is something that every new owner ought to do before taking this out for the first time. And so this isn't a review, that's coming later. This is really just a prep and safety step. It's worth doing carefully, and I want to show you what to look out for when you're going through this process. And really, I'm just looking for anything weird or out of the ordinary, like smoke where it shouldn't be, or a weak draft, loose fittings, or anything like that. Just making sure it's all solid. So let's get into it. But Adam, why even bother with this? 3 reasons. First is you're curing this coating. The Anchor stove has a high temp coating of paint on this steel that needs to heat to be able to cure out. The first time you fire this thing up, you might see a little smoke come off of it, and you might smell something a little bit chemical. And that's totally normal, but you don't want that happening inside your tent. Second, you're checking for leaks. So once you get the smoke drafting, you want to look for smoke coming out anywhere that it shouldn't be. Like look at the pipe joints and the seam welds or the door gasket. Make sure that that's all flowing properly and you don't see smoke escaping. I'd much rather catch a problem like that here than out there. And then thirdly, you're really just learning the stove. Do you know how it all fits together? Does it assemble properly? Do the legs sit flat? Just making sure that all the parts fit together properly. And you're learning things about the stove, like how long does it take to cool off before I can put it away when I'm done? Or what do I need to be able to clean it out? Or what kind of gloves should I bring? Things like that. It's a good practice run before you get out into the field and you realize you wish you brought something that you didn't. Basically, it's just a full system check before you actually need to trust it. So yeah, before you ever get to lighting it, you want to do a full dry assembly of all the parts. Every piece. The firebox, the legs, the side accessories. I believe if you got the water tank, you're not supposed to put the water tank on for the initial burn-in. But other than that, put all the pipe pieces together, make sure they all fit. You want to make sure that the spark arrestor at the top is good, because like I said, if something doesn't fit right or it gets stuck, you want to find that out now. Now you want to put the smallest chimney pipe down in the stove box first, and the crimped side of the pipe goes in first. Make sure you get that right. If you do it the other way, you're going to have smoke leaking out from right here. You want that flue chimney damper to be down on that bottom section of pipe closest to the stove box. And like I said, and go ahead and put all of the pipe sections together for the burn-in, because for one, you want to make sure that they all fit and work right, but also that's going to affect the draft. The length of the chimney can affect how the draft works. So go ahead and put it together at the height that you're going to be using it in your tent to make sure that that draft flows the way you expect it to. Always a good practice to run a fireproof stove mat underneath it. It's probably not necessary here with this wet grass and whatnot, but inside the tent, you definitely want to be running it with a fireproof mat because, for one, from the heat of the stove box, but also just to catch any sparks that might fall or pop out of the door, you don't want those landing inside your tent. So it's just good to get into a practice of using one every time. Also a good practice just to bring yourself a pair of work gloves. Helps to just have that. Obviously handling the hot door or whatever, just a good thing to have on hand, pun intended. I told you I'm from the DadCamps YouTube channel. Got to expect a few dad jokes. All right, time for the actual cure. White Duck's official guidance on this is to do this outdoors with the stovepipe attached and to build a moderate fire and to avoid overfiring, because making it too hot too fast could actually warp the material. So that's the whole thing. That's what we're doing here. So let's light it up. Pro tip, if you get to camp and you realize you've forgotten your fire starter, something you can always usually have on hand is a paper towel and some cooking oil. And you can just spread the cooking oil around the paper towel a little bit. Doesn't take a lot. And then roll that up into a little tinder bundle. Throw that in there and throw some pine needles on top of that. That thing is gonna take off faster than green grass through a goose. So first we wanna just start a small kindling fire and then load in the big logs after that. Start it slow, build it up. Load in a few bigger logs. And you don't want to overpack the firebox too fast. White Duck specifically warns that overfiring can warp the stove and shorten its lifespan, so keep it controlled and steady to start off with. I can see this is already getting a really great draw. I can see the air pulling the fire towards the back of the firebox. And we've already got smoke coming out the top of the chimney cap. Load a couple larger pieces now. You want to make sure you're using dry seasoned firewood for this. It's just going to catch easier. You're not going to struggle to light it, and you're not going to be building up any creosote in your chimney to start off with. Another thing I'm learning in this process is just how many logs can I fit in there. Helps me to be prepared for when I take it out on a trip, knowing what kind of firewood I can use. And so far I'm impressed. This thing is super roomy inside that firebox, and these are 16-inch pieces of firewood, and there is plenty of room for longer pieces, more pieces. This thing is a beast. Already really feeling the heat coming off this puppy. I'm gonna shut the door here so it can dampen it down a little bit. By the way, this is the large size stove. It goes up to an XL. I think there's a small, medium, large, XL size. Starting to get a nice medium heat in here, and the fire's not blazing. It's just burning nice and smooth, and starting to see some smoke coming off. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I think that's just from the paint. I don't think that there is smoke leaking out there. So it's exactly what we want to have happening now, not inside the tent. I'll go ahead and open the damper a little bit. I had it down to about a quarter open, so we'll go ahead and let that puppy fly. Not sure if it's showing up on camera there, but you can definitely see the smoke coming off of that paint. Is exactly the reason why you do this outside and not in your tent for the first time. One thing I want to point out while we're here waiting on it to burn is this area right on top. It's called the cook zone, and the top of the firebox is made with 9-gauge steel. The box itself is made with 12 gauge, so super thick on top. So it's a lot more than just a coffee warmer. You can actually cook on this thing, and you could put a full-on cast iron skillet, cook right there. You could even have multiple pans probably going here and have room to cook multiple things. Super great to have that surface going to be able to cook whenever you're running your stove. But again, another great reason to do this before you go, because you don't want to be cooking on it while this thing is off-gassing these chemical fumes. All right, so the fire's out, the stove's cooling down, and I want to share my conclusions and some things I learned, as well as some safety tips for you if you're thinking about trying out an Anchor stove. So after inspecting everything, going through the first burn, things looked really good. Things I was checking was the door gasket. There was no visible smoke leakage from there. The pipe joints on the chimney, those were clean and sealed at every section, including the spark arrestor. The drafting was fantastic. Started pulling right from the start, you saw that. There was no shifting, the legs were flat, nothing warped, everything seemed solid. So there was no real surprises on that stuff, which is ideal and basically the best possible outcome here. There were two key things that I learned as far as like how to be prepared for operating one of these in the field, and one of those is being prepared for how to clean it out afterwards. So bringing like a small brush or something like that would be helpful. Dump out the ash and be able to clean it out before I put it back into the storage container, just to keep everything nice and clean. The other thing is being able to handle the logs once the fire is going and be able to shift the fire. It hadn't dawned on me yet that I would need some kind of like log gripper or something to be able to move logs around. Now, if you have like a fire glove or something like that, you might be able to make do with that, but it'd be helpful to have something more than just kind of like a standard campfire poking stick, because operating inside of that box, you're gonna wanna be able to push things further back or stack them up in a better fashion, because it's going to burn better longer if you can actually stack the logs into a better structure inside the box. All right, so just a few safety tips that I thought I would mention that I've learned in learning about this Anchor stove. So one, the stovepipe height, chimney height, needs to be about a foot or two above the highest point of the tent. One, that helps it draft properly, and two, helps keep sparks from landing on top of the tent. Clearance around the stove. When you're in the tent, you need to keep a few feet of clearance around the stove from anything that's combustible. And especially things like bedding or sleeping bags, you want to keep those about 4 feet away. Ventilation. You want to make sure you keep the tent well ventilated. That thing is going to put out plenty of heat, so don't worry about cracking a window or opening some of the vents in the tent. And that venting is going to help you have a better airflow, and then a better draft and a healthier fire. Next, you got to make sure you have a carbon monoxide alarm. Always bring it every trip. Don't run one of these things without one. Carbon monoxide is completely odorless, so if you are having a problem, you wouldn't even know it until it's too late. And then just always think about fire safety. Always make sure you have at least one of these. Water readily available, a fire extinguisher, or a fire blanket that is within reach when the stove is running. If something in the tent catches on fire, you want to be able to put that thing out quick. so before it gets out of control. And one more thing that's worth pointing out is that these stoves are designed specifically to run inside of canvas tents. White Duck's guidance on these is that they are not designed for use in permanent structures, in cabins or barns, garages. So just use it where it's designed to be used, out in the great outdoors. And make sure you don't leave your fire unattended in the tent. These things can heat up real hot, real fast, and you want to keep an eye on what's going on in there. So don't leave your campsite while you got a fire raging in there. So that's the first burn. It feels good to get that done. It builds confidence and knowledge in the system and knowing that I'll be prepared when I do take it out in the field. The Anchor stove passed every test I threw at it. I can't wait to take that puppy out, throw it in the tent, and see how it does for real. If you got any questions on the setup or the burn-in, drop them in the comments. Either myself or someone at White Duck will be able to respond. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy your Anchor stove, and I'll see you out there.